Pizza delivery drivers of Reddit, what was the most fucked up place you've ever stopped at? I was delivering chicken, KFC, not pizza, but my worst stop was pathetic. Really? I knock on the door, I hear a kid yell I got it. He opens the door and runs up the stairs yelling to his friends the chicken asshole's here. The chicken asshole's here. After which a crowd of about 8 preteens at the top of the stairs start throwing change down the stairs at me to pay for the delivery. I asked if they could hand me the money. They laugh and just throw the quarters / dimes / etc. harder. So I picked up the bag of food, winged it up the stairs at them. It hit the wall and I split. Told the boss what happened, and if they call to complain I won't listen or apologize. I'll just quit if he brings it up. I found out later he did get a call and told them to get stuffed. Good boss. I once delivered to a guy living under his porch, if that counts. I drove up to the house. It's pitch black. No lights on. I look at the ticket and it says use back door. I go up the steps and no lights on. Nothing. Then I hear a voice from below me say, "Hey, down here." I look under the porch and there's a small door leading into what looked like a makeshift apartment. I had to actually crouch to get to it. Gave the guy the pizza and bounced the fuck out of there. The one where they tried to pull me in the house. Not coincidentally the last delivery I ever made. Are you dead now? Yeah, man. Extremely large man naked on his bed telling me to come and I yelled that I wouldn't like to do that. And he replied, "Oh, it's a girl. Why'd they send a girl?" As if we knew the situation there. Delivered to a trucker in his rig. They rated me for having a single nose piercing and colored hair because he had a son with all them piercings and all he does is drugs now. Then the man texted me, "Can I ask you a silly question?" I had called him to find his specific rig for the delivery. I ignored and blocked him, and he called the store asking for me specially to return and bring him a specific sauce packet. My manager said no and had me stay in the store with the crew until it was time to leave. One woman answered the door in a thong and asked where another delivery driver was. Told her he wasn't working. She replied, "Well, he knows to always do mine for me." Again tried to explain that he was not present in the store. That day later found out he was dealing while delivering. Probably many more. Pizza delivery is a rite of passage in my opinion. Used to deliver part-time in a not so nice part of town. Used to do a regular delivery to an adult bookstore. My 18-year-old mind was blown the first time I went in and saw all the sex toys and shit hanging on the walls. Another time I delivered to a room at a hot sheet motel. Dude opened the door and while he was counting out the money I saw a naked hooker sit up in the bed behind him. I worked at Domino's and we had to blacklist a guy because he was obsessed with me. He would come in and ask if I was there. If I wasn't working that day he would just show up the next. If I was on a delivery, he'd wait around in the store for me. He would tell me that he loved me and ask me out on dates. He was very bad on heroin and made it obvious. The last time I delivered to his house, he ordered about $40 worth of food and drinks and kept trying to hand me $100 even though I told him numerous times I didn't have the change. He apparently stole his grandma's cell phone and wouldn't give it back, and him and his cousin were screaming at each other the whole time I'm waiting to get the smaller bills he kept telling me he had. He had nothing smaller than a $100 and he kept arguing with me because he changed his mind and just wanted one pizza and a drink, and I told him I couldn't do that. So while I was an undergrad, I worked as a pizza delivery driver. I had a delivery to a dodgy part of town with a delicious pie. When I got within a couple miles of the residence, a local sheriff's deputy got in front of me. We made all the same turns. Then as we got closer, another got in front of him and one behind me. I start freaking out a bit as I'd been smoking some weed, but carry on. Finally, we all get to the same residence, which is totally surrounded by police in riot gear, guns drawn, all that shit. I get out with my pizza and discover the house I'm supposed to deliver to is the one with SWAT out in front. One of the officers waves me off and says he's not gonna need that today, and they proceed to breach the door, to which I return to the car with a free pizza and get the hell out of there. They were added to our do not deliver list, but I don't think we ever heard from them again. This gives me an image of a SWAT team bursting through a door and professionally sweeping a house with a pizza dude in tow. They flashbang a room and tackle the assailants shouting, "Get on the ground," while you hear in the background, "That'll be $21.50. You paying cash or card?" Either that or a hostage situation. The cops are getting ready to breach, but the FBI show up to take over the scene in classic fashion. Then a beat up old sedan rolls up, some dude from Domino's gets out and says hand me the megaphone. Funnest job I ever had, but man the shit I saw and went through. The most fucked up delivery had to be when a woman answered with her huge beautiful Siamese cat. I love that breed, so I ask if I can pet him. She says yes. I bend down. The cat purrs, rubs against me, all the usual signs of liking it. So I stand up to finish giving this lady her pizza. The cat lunges and bites me above my right eye and wraps all four limbs around my head. Panic. Freeze. WTF do I do? WTF is going on? Why isn't this lady helping me? I grab this demon cat from hell by the front legs and just rip him the fuck off of me. As I do, my contact lens pops off. All I can think is that it's eye skin coming off of my eyeball. I throw that fucker down and just freak out at the amount of blood that starts pouring out of my gash. The woman brings me into her house and puts a towel on. I tell her she has to take me to the emergency room or call 911 as I can't see to drive myself. After all, it was her cat who attacked me. She drives me to a minor place. I get stitches and a tetanus shot. She foots the bill. Never see her again. Boss wasn't happy that I missed the rest of the night or had another order in my car. Fuck that cat. I'm copying from a post I made over on r/Teles from Thupizagai, so I apologize if my formatting is bad, but here's my pizza delivery story. One night I have a delivery to a pretty rural area. A lot of my deliveries are to rural areas, so no big deal. But tonight it's drizzling and especially dark, so I'm having trouble finding the address of the house I'm looking for. So I roll down the passenger window and use my really fucking bright flashlight, pointing it at mailboxes/trees/posts/anything that somebody might have their address on at the end of their driveway. So I'm driving along at like 5 miles an hour pointing my flashlight when the beam catches a guy wearing a black hoodie at the end of an obviously long gravel road staring directly at me. More of a glare at me, really. But whatever, could just be on the phone or something. Then it gets weirder. I finally find the address I'm looking for and pull into the drive and hop out of the car. That's when I get the sinking feeling. No cars, no house light, boarded up windows. If you've ever been a delivery person, you know that this is a time to get over there because you're about to get robbed. Right as I'm about to jump in, throw the car into reverse and nope the fuck out of there, I see a man walking across the empty field adjacent to the property towards me. Fuck. Now I'm a pretty burly, bearded dude, so I don't worry a whole lot on deliveries, but this scared the shit out of me. When he gets closer, I see him very obviously tucking something into his waistband, what I can only assume was a gun. He then says in a thick, menacing southern accent, I thought you was the law, I guess, because of how I was scanning the addresses. I meekly point to my car topper and the pizza in my hand and he says in the nicest voice you've ever heard, oh, great. Thank you so much. Have a great night. Pays me and proceeds to walk back through the open field in the direction of no buildings in the rain with his pizza. For the rest, if my shift I couldn't stop whispering what the fuck. Strangest thing that's ever happened to me. I have two. We had a regular that was saved in the computer as Mike from around the corner. Whenever I delivered he was super fucked up. On more than one occasion I had to let myself in because he was playing his drum set with his headphones on or completely fucked up on booze or drugs. One time he was passed out and drooling on the coffee table. Called the cops, but he was okay. I saw him a year later at his day job and he didn't even know who I was. Was never sober when we delivered. The other one was an artsy house in Huntington Beach. Big 4-bedroom and the place was always crawling with white supremacists. Always answered the door without shirts and displaying tattoos. Always a style. They wouldn't tip unless you were white. I drove to the customer's house and saw that a guy was being handcuffed by the police in the front yard. I had no idea what to do, so I drove around a neighboring block a few times. When I came back, the police and handcuffed guy were gone. I didn't know if he was the customer or not, so I just walked up to the door and knocked. An old couple answered and took the pizza and paid and didn't say anything about the arrest that happened on their lawn. It was in a city with extremely low crime rate as well, so it was very strange to 17-year-old me. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe and share it with your friends.